So we're now told to believe this. Believe that there is one God. If you just say, all right, I believe in one God, thank you, this is my religion, this is what I believe in, and that's me, done. Yeah, then that would not be a panth, that would be a bench. He's like, baja ram naal, right? Take a seat, bruv. Yeah, you go, a cha pila, right? Have a cup of tea. Your job's done.
Yeah.
Yeah. And then that we could say, but no, a panth is where the Guru is saying, I've experienced oneness. This is my truth now. I can't say any other way, because there isn't any other way, because that's what I'm seeing. I'm just seeing that, wow, jal thal mehi al par purlina kat jot samani, that wherever I'm looking, I look within the water, I look within the earth, I look within the forest, I look within the space. All I see is that one kat jot, that there is your light within each and everything. At the core, everything is your light. That's Guru's experience now. Guru's sharing that with us. Welcome to the Japji Sahib podcast series. In today's episode, we'll be going through the 12th stanza that Guru Nanak Dev Ji have blessed us with. And let's get straight into it. First of all, let's introduce Veechar and sing Vaheguru Ji Ka Khalsa, Vaheguru Ji Ki Fateh.
Vaheguru Ji Ka Khalsa, Vaheguru Ji Ki Fateh.
Veechar and sing, what we're going to be covering today is we're going to be looking at a state of the spiritual state of a devotee. And to get to that state, is it something that you can imitate? What I mean by that is it something that I can look at how you're doing certain things and look at the actions you're doing, you're performing? Can I just look at them and copy them and expect myself to be at that spiritual state of being a devotee? So that's what we're going to be covering and going through today. I know I saw a little smile and or more of a smirk on your face as I was saying that, because you're obviously, there was something there as I was saying that. That's what we're going to be talking about. What went through your mind as I was saying that?
Well, it's just exciting because, you know, we've spent 4 episodes talking about Sunya, and we're moving forwards in that journey, you know, having learned and reflected on so much, you know, together. Mm-hmm. And this is the next stage now, and it's just exciting to see what's going to unfold.
Oh, amazing. Because I actually thought maybe you was thinking about, should I start imitating, you know, Viji's actions? And so yeah, no. Yeah, that wouldn't really work. You know, and that's what we're going to be looking at. And so we're progressing from Sunya, which is when that intuitiveness, which isn't based on just our life experiences, and it's that deeper intuition where it's talking about when you can hear Vaheguru, but not as a voice like this. So there's that, you're hearing it, and you are, even in that state, you're not just hearing it, you're starting to follow it. But then there's another step to it. So what we're going to do is, like, what is that development then from Sunya to Manne? And here, what you'll find is from the next 3 stanzas, it'll come spelt Manne with the Dulama. So here it's spelt Manne because here it's referring to that person that has reached that spiritual state. But what is that spiritual state of Manne? And if you have a look, and those of you that are reading and you're watching this on a screen, then you'll see that we've translated it to devotee. How did we get to that? Because Manne, literally, Manne, if we was even thinking about in Punjabi when we speak, Manne would be when you accept something, to be in this state of acceptance. And then we could add the word sweet to it. So living in this sweet acceptance, not in the sense of like living in the sweet acceptance to the will of God, which you would be anyway when you're in that state. But this is that when you're hearing and you're in touch with that vibration of Vaheguru and God speaking to us, then there's this sense of sweet acceptance towards that. So if we was then to develop that into how do we take that from that to devotion? Because this path that Guru Sahib, Guru Nanak Padshah has given us is the path of devotion. So devotion, I would, if I was to create a formula for that, it would be dedication, because then the word devotion means to be dedicated. But we were just speaking and I was mentioning it earlier that I've asked this question a few times now, and in the Sangat, some of the Sangat have said the word surrender, and I thought, yeah, that really, that just goes, that fits. Because when you look at what Guru Arjan Dev Ji is saying, that har paryo swami ke dware, that dije buddh bibeka, and then when Guru Arjan Dev Ji is saying har paryo, that you've got to be able to completely lose your ego and drop that mind, that when we're stuck in that thinking mind, har paryo, when you go beyond that, har paryo, from that, and then swami ke dware, then you land, then you end up at the door of God. And at the door of God is that intelligence that Vaheguru has made all this creation within, and that perfect way of being is there, is sat there at that door. Dije buddh bibeka, then what to do is given there. Dije, and it's we can do this as an ardas, which it is in that context. But if we looked at it in just another context, that what's given there when you lose your ego and you drop at the door of Vaheguru, then is dije, is given, is buddh, is that intellect. Bibeka means when you just know. That babek is just the knowing of how to act from a place of truth. And the buddha here means like you'll be able to just distinguish, you'll know, that discerning intellect. We often think that this comes from how sharp our intellect is from the knowledge we've gained from reading. It's not. This buddha bibek is actually direct source, comes from the source itself. And then, so if we used to use then that formula, is to surrender, and plus, then it's love. Otherwise, this path isn't dry, and this path is, how would you, if it's not dry, then how would you describe it? Juicy? It's a juicy path.
Juicy. Hariya.
Yeah.
Hariya Pariya.
Yeah, it's just, it's forever green, it's lush. So that is the spiritual state of somebody that is in that place of manne. Manne is when you're in that state of complete devotion. It's just, your heart's filled with love, so there's no resistance to what's been said. You know how to be. There's no resistance to it now. So before, it could have been that you was doing it, but there was still a bit of, I don't know, man, this is a bit hard, this is a bit crazy. But manne is almost, it's just, you're just, it's like you're just flowing now. You're in this state of love, this devotion, this surrender, and it's just.
And that's why you've picked, the word devotee for the translation, because, it's not just a belief, it's not just a faith, it's a lot more than that. There's an action in it, because Sakhi, as we've discussed off camera, is a marg. It's a bant, it's a path, it's a moving thing that you experience and enjoy and embark on. It's not something that you sit down and just watch as a belief or an idea that you have about it.
Yeah, well, I think it would be perfect to use the example that we used when we was talking earlier, is that if we look at what Guru Nanak Dev Ji, like Bhai Gurdas Ji has said, that Marya Sikha Jagd Vich Nanak Nirmal Panth Chalaya. Bhai Gurdas Ji says that Guru Nanak Dev Ji created and established this nirmal, this immaculate panth. And again, in these translations, it does say started a religion, but we're trying to avoid that word, and we'll explain why we're trying to avoid that word, because the way I interpret the way when we look at the word religion, because many times we'll hear, well, it's not, Sikhi isn't this religion, it's a path, it's a way of life. And you described it, and there was an additional way you described it as well. I don't know if you can remember, but like, I used to think about that, and I'm sure you have as well. I'm sure it's crossed so many people's minds where it's thinking, well, I don't get it. What's the difference? Like, yeah, we say way of life, and it's a religion though, isn't it? And so many other people where, and I've seen this so many times as well, where we're trying to say that, then there's this arrogance to other people, to other faiths. We're saying, well, no, like you guys are a religion, we're a path, we're a way of living, and they're saying, well, no, this is a way of living as well. So, and I think we get into all of that. So if we was to try and break it down and define it, I think a good way of breaking it down and defining it is that if we was to look at, so here the word panth has been translated to religion, but panth, we all know it means path. Yeah. And so because a religion comes with a set of belief systems, and we can look at it additionally, then it comes with a set of disciplines and a way of life to adhere to live to a certain set of disciplines. But we can counter that as well in a minute. Because if it's a belief system, let's take that example as a belief system. So we're now told to believe this. Believe that there is one God. Yeah. And we've covered this before, I'm sure, but it's good to kind of reinforce that point. So what makes it not a belief system? Because then are we not to believe there's one God? No, that's not the point here. The point is, if you just say, all right, I believe in one God, thank you, this is my religion, this is what I believe in, and that's me, done. Yeah, then that would not be a panth, that would be a bench. He's like, right, take a seat, bruv. Yeah, you go, a cha pila, right, up a cup of tea, your job's done.
Yeah.
Yeah. And then that we could say, but no, a panth is where the Guru is saying, I've experienced oneness. This is my truth now. I can't say any other way, because there isn't any other way, because that's what I'm seeing. I'm just seeing that, wow, jal thal mehi al par purlina kat jot samani, that wherever I'm looking, I look within the water, I look within the earth, I look within the forest, I look within the space. All I see is that one kat jot, that there is your light within each and everything. At the core, everything is your light. That's Guru's experience now. Guru's sharing that with us. And when then Guru Sahib is then saying to us that, wait there, actually not, sorry, I shouldn't even word it like that. Not that Guru Sahib would say, actually not that. Guru Sahib is then saying to us, as well as that, Guru Sahib is saying to us that, not just that you are within this. Whoa, jo dise, so tera roop, actually whatever I see, even physical matter, is just a manifestation of you. Nirgun aap sargun pi ohi kalatar jin sagli mohi nirgun aap. You are the formless, and you are the form as well. So this is Guru's experience. This is what the Guru is experiencing. Yeah? Guru isn't believing in that. It's not that Guru Ram Das Ji told Guru Arjan Dev Ji this, and they said, all right, great, I'm going to just grab this bench then. Guru Arjan Dev Ji went through the process and became a devotee, and then experienced that. So a path is when Guru's saying, you want a piece of this. Yeah, like this is something else. And you're saying, whoa, I want a piece of that. And I'm stuck in my head. Well, I'm living in duality. I see what that person's done to me, and then I'm holding it against them. I now can't stand them. I hate them. Like, this is horrible. Like, whoa, like, where's that? Show me. And then the Guru's saying, you have to walk. You have to walk to get there.
Charan chalo.
Yeah.
Marg Gobind.
Yeah, charan chalo marg Gobind. Yeah. And then again, that is from Sukhmani Sahib. And Guru Sahib Ji saying here that this is what I'm doing with my feet, charan chalo.
Yeah.
I am walking. And I'm marg Gobind, to that path of Gobind to Vaheguru. And that walking is becoming a devotee. You can only walk whilst becoming a devotee. When now there's this pure utter devotion. And what is that dedication towards? What is that devotion towards? That devotion is towards, I would say, within that devotion is not just the surrender and dedication, but there is the longing. And that's what is making you walk, allowing you to walk. That's what creates the possibility for you to walk on a path, is that longing. When the Guru's telling you this and now you start to long for that, now you've become a devotee. But it's not dry, there's love there. Yeah. And that is the spiritual state that is referred to and they are talking of here. But it's now that connection to that inner one that is telling you every moment. In each moment is telling you whether in that moment you stay quiet, in that moment you speak, in that moment everything is that in that moment it's coming from there now. Yeah? And that's why then the Guru says Kehee na Jaae. It cannot be described, the state of that one, because you can either be there or you're not. Because you're either trying to work it all out in your head. Yeah? And that's why you cannot imitate them, because Guru Sahib Ji said, like, when Guru Nanak Dev Ji went to Dhaka, which was the east of India, and they met with somebody that was a Jadoo Karan, who played around with, who practiced witchcraft. And do you remember her name?
No.
Not a friend of yours, is it?
No.
Yeah, right. Because apparently their lineage is still going. But Gyan Singh, he was a poet and a historian. He read a lot of the Suraj Granth but he did his own research as well. Looked into the Suraj Granth and did his own research. So Gyan Singh has his own Granths, which is something that I used to really reference in my early days. And Gyan Singh went out to find out, like, to know more about this place. Because the Sakhi goes that when Bhai Mardana Ji was, feeling hungry and wanted to munch, Guru Nanak Dev Ji sent him that direction. And he knocked on this mesmerizing kind of palace door, and he was just intrigued, like, there's a different feeling here. And Bhai Veer Singh gives it such a kind of a detailed description. And when he walks in, Bhai Mardana Ji walks into this palace, a lady opens the door, and she's got many different, servants, maids and disciples as well. And she's very powerful looking. And so when Bhai Mardana Ji's like, he's just, wow, look at this place, it's amazing. And she's like, yeah, sit down, we'll make you the best of foods. And she said, like, where have you come from? And he said, oh, I've got a guru. And my guru sent me here. And she thought, no, you can't have a guru whilst I'm here in this place. This is my territory. And the amount of, I'm the one that holds powers here. All these different spiritual powers and the ability to practice witchcraft. And so she's thought, oh, I'll show him. And she said, once I show him, there's no way he's going to go back. and he'll know I'm the most powerful one, and he's going to stick it out here. He's going to become a part of us. So she looked into his eyes and she started casting her spells on Bhai Mardana Ji. And Bhai Mardana Ji starts to look straight at her. And the way Gyani Gyan Singh explains this is because in some of the Puratan Janam Sakhis, it says that she actually transformed him physically into an animal, a ram. But Bhai Gyani Gyan Singh said when he went and visited that place, he found families from that lineage, maybe not like a direct family lineage, but of that village. And he came to know that a lot of them practiced witchcraft. And he uses the word mesmerize. And what he meant by that was that she actually, that they used to hypnotize people. And he got to speak to people that was still like, you know, knew of those families and generations. And he came to know that they used to practice that. So she's made Bhai Mardana Ji think he's a ram. So he's actually making noises, sounds like a ram, jumping around, acting like one, right? He's still got the physical form of a human being, this as per the way Gyani Gyan Singh writes it. And so he's like probably on all fours, jumping around and making these ram-type noises. I don't know if that's something you would like to attempt.
I think we'll skip that part for now. But carry on with this interesting Sakhi, please, Ruji.
So she's like well chuffed with herself, you know, thinking he's got a guru, I've got him, you know, job done. So Guru Nanak Dev Ji, that moment when that happens to Bhai Mardana, turns back at that point. Not that Guru Nanak Dev Ji was, you know, not like that Guru Nanak Dev Ji didn't know where he's going. They were there in that area to save her. So as they've come and they've opened the door, and she's kind of laughing to say, look at your disciple, and you might as well surrender now because this is what will happen to you as well. And Guru Nanak Dev Ji's looking at Bhai Mardana, and then she starts to try and cast her spells to hypnotize Guru Nanak Dev Ji, to make them think that they are something, and it wasn't working. So she starts to get frustrated, and she goes to call some backup, other women that she had trained as well in the same field. But by that time, Guru Nanak Dev Ji just said, Mardanya. So they called him to look straight at them, and he turned around and looked Guru Nanak Dev Ji straight in the eyes, and Guru Nanak Dev Ji goes, oh, bol Sat Kartar. They said, say Sat Kartar. And the moment, and he went Sat Kartar, and he broke out of that spell. And she thought, what's happened here? Nobody's been able to break my spells. Like, nobody is more powerful than me. And Bhai Mardana Ji stands up and goes and falls at Guru Sahib's feet. You know, you saved me from... And then also a little upset, thinking, why did he let me come here? And, you know, and she looked at Guru Nanak Dev Ji, and she said, who are you? And, you know, why aren't my spells working on you? And then it was Guru Nanak Dev Ji's turn to cast a spell on her, but it wasn't that type of spell. Guru Nanak Dev Ji did what they did best. They started singing. And they started singing this song that Risa karhe tanadiyan, jo se veh dar khadiyan. And when they sang these words, that Risa karhe tanadiyan, jo se veh dar khadiyan, and they're saying to her that you cannot imitate those. You're trying to come across as being somebody spiritual, but actually you're just after powers. But you're trying to imitate those that are actually spiritual and standing at the door of God and communicating directly with God, but you've actually left God's door. Outwardly, it seems very similar what you are doing to these people that are devoted to God, because it looks like this almost the same. When you practice your mantras, you're sat on the floor. You've got your eyes closed and you're muttering something away, but where you are from inside, you're doing it for the chase of power, for these spiritual powers to entice people and get them underneath your wing, underneath your power, right? And so they said that you're trying to imitate those and be like those, somebody, spiritual. They said, but you're not anywhere near them, because them, they said, Risa karhe tinadiyan jo seva hai dar khadiyan. You're wherever you are from inside, but they are at the door of God. Yeah. And that's why their spiritual state is where it's at, because of where they are from inside, not because of what they are doing from the outside. And naal khasme rattiyan maanhe sukh raliyan. They're saying that they're actually imbued just in the love of God. And maanhe sukh raliyan, they're actually in sukh. They're in this eternal peace, eternal happiness, bliss. They said, you're not there. They said, you still got fear. You don't want somebody to be above you. You still got fear because you need power and you need people under your control for you to feel good about yourself. And for you, it's all about external gain and having that validation from people. And they said there's a huge difference here. And this is actually, when we look at this manne ki gat Kehee na Jaae, that's why Guru Sahib Ji is saying that you've got to be there to know it, the love that they are in, what state they are in. That's why you could have two people sitting down doing kirtan, singing the same shabad, same tune, use the same instrument, but they could be in completely two different places internally, because of where one is. One could be doing it out of, I wonder if I've sang well enough to impress everyone. I wonder how much donations and offerings are going to come. I'm just doing my job. The kids need putting to bed, but I've just got to do this. I've got to do my bit. The Sangha to just do my hardiri, and I got to get home. And then there's somebody else that's at the door of God singing, crying out to God. Those that are crying out to God are actually on a bant. They're on a path. And that's manne ki gat. That's why you can't, it's all internal, this game is. Right?
It reminds me of a Sakhi, if you don't mind. Guru Angad.
It's not very often, by the way. I see you in awe, and it's nice to see that.
It is.
Yeah.
Really?
I do see you, but I think it's maybe not in the podcast setting then.
Yeah.
Yeah.
In Aisaa, Guru Nanak Dev Ji was called to a scene where someone was using, spiritual powers to, I think, control ghosts to steal and scare the community. And Guru Nanak Dev Ji was called to the scene, and they said the shabad that, I'll just bring it up, ek nahi daat aapas de jo paiye, that person practicing witchcraft thought they were powerful, they thought they were gifted, they thought they were somewhere, but they just did a set of things to get a gift or to get a power. But what Guru Angad Dev Ji said was, Nanak sagar mat Sahib tutthe jo mile, that actual miracle, that what's actually valuable is where Vaheguru is happy with you, and it relates so closely to that other Sakhi you just shared. That's why I just thought I'd share it, and relates to the avastha, the state of mind of someone who is devoted, that they're in a place that it's special and it's valuable, and Vaheguru is happy with you, and the devotee is happy because they're listening and they're walking.
Yeah. No, thank you for sharing that, and it just kind of makes it all so much more, somewhat easier to try and grasp it. And not to say that we can, because that's what this body is saying in full, you know. Manne ki gat kahi na jaae. Their spiritual state cannot be described, it can only be experienced. You know, and then Je Ko Kahai Pichai Pichtaae. And Guru Sahib Ji saying that if somebody does try and say it, Kehee, if someone, Je, koi bhi, Pichai Pichtaae, that later on they will come to regret that attempt. And what that means is because they'll come to realize that I said so much, so little to what it is to be in that place. Like all I was describing was the external, they smile like this, they did that, you know, they picked up that jug and did, you know, whatever they could see, and they did it with so much love. And but really, like, you'll realize that, oh no, that's not defining it. And why would Guru Sahib say this and tell us that it cannot be described? Because Guru Sahib Ji is saying, I don't want you to just be sat on that bench and just be looking at others alone. And like, you're never going to get it unless you get there yourself. Yeah, just start walking.
Viji, what's that Bhakti that was like you get a desire from looking at other Gursikhs? Tina dekh, isn't it?
Tina dekh man chao uthanda.
But within that is not just an awe of the other Gursikh, then it's saying, how can I then go on that path?
Yeah,
and then
yeah,
it's
yeah,
the
yeah,
inspiration
yes.
to do something yourself,
yeah.
as in with the Guru's
like
Kripa.
Maharaj is saying, don't make your whole life just about that, where you're sat on that bench just like saying, yeah, look at them. Like Maharaj saying, look at them and come on.
To see me, Ajo.
Yeah, you come too, you know, tina dekh man chau uthanda, how kad pai gunatasa. There's Bhaktiyan that I can't remember now from the top of my head, where, you know, Bhai Gurdas Ji talks about you keep continuously asking about the path, the marg, but you're not walking. And what's the point of doing that? So then Guru Sahib Ji go on to continue this and saying Kaagad means paper, Kalam Na Likhanhaar. Like there's no paper or pen or scribe. Doesn't matter how scholarly, how amazing they are, they're not going to be able to do justice and say of that inner state somebody is in. We could look at somebody, wow, they sat for 8 hours. But it's not about that. It's somebody could be sat for 5 hours or 24 hours. Like, it's where they are inside. You know, because Maharaji talk about those as well, that kaha pyo jo do lochan moond ka. It looks exactly the same. You know, they're sat with their eyes closed and battery or bhaktiyan lagawe. But Maharaji is saying actually their eyes are closed for a different purpose, a different means. It's like that crane bird is waiting for that fish. Because somebody that is in that state of devotion, it's not about just having their eyes closed. Just the way they eat their food. You know, they'll be right at the door of Vaheguru. They'll be at the door of the source of that food. Just the way they talk to somebody. You know, they're there. What are you going to describe? All you can describe is they spoke like this. They ate like this. They ate. They were focusing on their food. They were eating like this. And that's why I always say eating mindfully to eating with devotion is different. You know, you could just be mindful about you eating your food. Yeah, I can taste it. I'm present, which is great, which is a good step. Eating with devotion is another story. It's you're not just mindful. You're grateful. You're drenched. You're in love. You're in the remembrance of the source of that food. It's a different game. Devotion is. It's a step further. Because otherwise, if we just all was just mindful, then we would all get to God through that. Yeah, but it's devotion that gets us to Vaheguru. And so that's as much as we could say. We could get a pen. Yeah, look. Then they picked up the glass and they slowly took it to their mouth, and then they took a sip in this way. But that's not what makes them a devotee, is it? And it's where they were from inside that made them a devotee. It's that they're drenched in love. Everything they're doing. Manne ka beh karan Veechar. Like, they're saying that you're not able to. You can sit down. We can have these vichara. We can talk about it, but it's not. We're not experiencing it. Yeah. But we can talk about it to say, let's go, man. Let's walk. Yeah. Let's not just stay here. We can say, let's do this. So, but otherwise, to say, if I can say where a devotee is internally, no. You can talk about it. It doesn't mean you can get enough paper for it. You can get enough ink for it. You can get the right scribe for it. It's impossible. You have to go there. Aisaa naam Niranjan hoye je ko man jaanai man koe. Aisaa naam. Such is that name. That name is that vibration of that one, the intelligence of this creation, and that just the sweetness of that, and being in touch with that when that's guiding you in life in every moment. Such is that it's of who they've used the word Niranjan for Vaheguru here. And the word Niranjan comes from the word Anjan. Anjan then means the mascara, something that is black. And then Nir means without. So something that is without any blemish, basically that isn't in any form of illusion. That is just pure, immaculate, that knows the truth. Referring to Vaheguru in that way. And what that is saying is, when you're being guided by that Shabd Guru from inside, it's pure. There's no blemish on it. There's no arrogance in it. There's no greed in it. Yeah, there's no attachment in it. It's pure love. The color is clear. It's clear. And that's why then Maharaji said, when you come from that place, then rang hasse. Then you laugh in that pureness. That ranga rove. And then you cry from that pureness. Chup pi kar ji, go silent in that pureness. But it's coming from there. Your crying becomes pure. Your laughing becomes pure. Your silence becomes pure. Because it's from there. And Guru Sahib Ji then say that Je ko man jaane man koe. Only those know and experience that pureness, that have experienced that man jaane, that devotion, and only within those minds know that have experienced that devotion towards that. And let's go. Ready?
Yeah.
And this is it. This is the essence of this path, is to get to a place where we're getting guided from such a pure place. Because everything else is an attempt, an interpretation that we read, and that could be clouded with so much impurities of the mind in trying to practice that. That's why all the practices that Guru has given us is to actually get to that. So we're guided from that place that is pure.
And how do you know when you're in that?
From what I've heard, and from any glimpses that anyone ever gets, they just say, you know. I know that sounds like a cop-out answer, but they just said there's no way you don't know, because in there's no frustration, there's no resistance, there's no guilt, there's no sick feeling, there's no anger, there's no arrogance, there's none of that's there. And it's not just emotionless dead. It's not like that as well. It's coming from such a vibration where then even then when it's communicated through this body, even then on a mind body level, you will experience it as very pleasant emotions, like the love even on an emotional level. Like there's two depths to love. There's the love that God is, and then but that love then we also get to, when we're in touch with that, we get to experience it as an emotion through the mind as well. And we can feel it in the heart, in this heart as well, the organ heart even, you can feel a warmth there as well. And in that moment, there's no like, can't stand you, bro. It's just non-existent. When you're in that state, you know, you just know.
Can you come in and out of it?
Again, from Gurmukhs I've spoke to, Mahapurukhs I've spoke to, they say there's like two avasthas. There's one where you get glimpses of it. And it's like, we've used the analogy, the door opens, you get to see the existence of God inside the house. But when you're getting to see God, it's just an analogy, but when you're getting to see God in that house, in that moment you're experiencing it as well. Yeah, and those are the moments that give you the, I want to get in that house, man. I want to get in there. Yeah. And then they say then that, but there's another state where you get in and there's no return then. There's nothing to return, so there's not like an identity left to say, oh, wait there, 1 second.
Yeah. You shut the door behind you and stay in
yeah, and like that's it, because you're gone. Suraj kiran mile, jal ka jal hua ram. Like it's done, you know. So like, how can it come back? You can't say that I want that specific ray back from the sun. You know, you can't ask that drop of water like, oh, come on. So they say there's that, like Guru Sahib say that. Well, look here, we're using that example, you know, milya hoye na vichhade je milya hoye. You know, so that's a very clear indication there from Guru Sahib that if you are truly united, then there's no separation again. But yeah, like where I feel where Guru Sahib is saying ekapuri darshan dijiye, like there's the ekapuri, there's those bits of, get those moments of darshan. Ek shin dars dikhaaye ji, Bhagat Ravidas ji. And so Sagal Pavan ke Naika ek shin is just saying, just give me a little instant. Because then that instant is enough to get the longing. Yeah. And so I think you can, from what I've understood and from what I've heard from, again, great saints, is that, yeah, you can have those moments. And I'm sure, and all the Sangat have had those moments. I'm pretty sure of it. You know, right? So there we have it. You know, manne ki gat. Yeah. Anything else would you like to?
No, Richie, can't wait to speak to you next time.
Great, amazing. Sangat ji, keep listening. Continue with us on this journey, but don't sit on a bench. Like let's get walking. You know, let's just live this life with devotion, so that we keep walking, but to such an extent we keep walking that we end up before the house of that one, and we see those doors open, and that we do manage to walk through those doors whilst we've got this physical body. Vaheguru Ji Ka Khalsa, Vaheguru Ji Ki Fateh.
If you enjoyed this video, please like, comment, share and subscribe. Please donate and help spread Guruji's message. Link is in the description below. Vaheguru Ji Ka Khalsa, Vaheguru Ji Ki Fateh.